What is up, guys? Shaddix here, and welcome back to another video where today we are going to be obtaining the shiny charm exclusively through the surprise trade feature. Now, I want to make sure we get the shiny charm before we even get the first gym, but what I am going to do is play through the entire beginning of the game so we have access to the school so we can actually get the shiny charm when we have gotten all 400 Pokemon in the Dex. Now, I do have to start out by saying that this is not actually possible. The only reason being, Miraidon and Cryoidon can't even be put into the Wonder Trade system at all, and then the 4 legendaries of Ruins are literally just so rare because there's only 1 per file, that it's not really feasible to keep going until we get all of them. So what we're going to do is we're going to get everything except for the 6 legendaries, and then we'll have someone trade them to us at the end, since we can't even get all of them anyway. But the other 394 Pokemon are fair game, and we need to get every single one of them, so let's see how long this is gonna take. The one Pokemon we're actually going to catch is the Lechonk catching tutorial at the beginning of the game, because you have to have something in your box and something in your party in order to do surprise trading in the first place. So I figured this Lechonk would be a really good starting point for us. Now, one thing I'm actually quite surprised about is the fact that we actually got a Paradox Pokemon pretty early, and it was actually our first future one. Our first one ended up being an Iron Hands, which is probably, I'd say, the most common. And then out of nowhere on the same day, we also got a Trash Bird. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. And then not long after starting the first day, we actually managed to get our first 100 Pokemon in the Dex. This didn't take too long. I'd say it took maybe a good 2 or 3 hours or so. And some fair amount of trades later, I'd say, I actually got something I wasn't expecting to see, and that is a fully evolved starter. This is our first fully evolved one, and I just thought it was really cool that we got one on literally the first day. I thought they were going to be pretty hard to get. We spent a good amount of time trading on the first day, and we actually managed to get 185 Pokemon caught in the Dex. When we started day 2, we had 185 Pokemon, and I was determined to hit the halfway point on Pokemon, not on time. This took far longer than I ever would have thought. By trading session number 6, we actually hit the halfway point, and honestly, I was pretty excited, but little did I know I had so much more to go. And then later that same day, we actually got our first ancient Pokemon, which was a Screamtail. Oddly enough, we saw more future Pokemon than ancient Pokemon, and I honestly thought in the back of my head that ancient Pokemon would be a lot more popular just because of the design choices, but I guess not, because we saw far more future Pokemon than we did ancient Pokemon through this entire thing. Somewhere in all this, we ended up ending day 2, and I don't remember when we did that because I was just trading a whole lot at this point, but day 3 came along and something really weird happened. We actually got a Spupa, which I believe was new, and then we traded it for its evolution, which also happened to be new. I just thought that was really cool. I never thought that would happen. I mean, what, was 1 in 200 chance, or 1 in 400, that I would get the exact thing I needed from trading a Spupa? But anyway, that was Vivleon, so I thought that was a really nice little cool touch to see. And then we came across what I thought was not even in this game yet, and that is a hacked shiny. We ended up getting a level 100 shiny Cinderace, but this will be useful later on for another challenge we're going to do, because a lot of these have good items that we could just sell for a whole lot of money. Not long after getting the Cinderace, we actually hit 250 Pokemon in the Dex. Now, we're still on day 3, and I was honestly feeling so good about this, but it took a turn for the worse towards the end, I'll say. But by the end of day 3, we ended up having 260 Pokemon caught, and this has only taken us about little over 23 hours. Coming into day 4, we had some cool stuff happen, like we actually found a shiny Ditto. Now, in previous games, the hacked Pokemon were like a lot of legendaries or really rare Pokemon, and Ditto is rare, but there's a lot of just things that you wouldn't expect to get shiny hacked Pokemon in this game. But I'm guessing that's because a lot of the legendaries people would want can't even be put in there. And then not long after getting the shiny Ditto, we actually managed to get our first middle starter evolution. Now, I do expect these starters to be a lot harder to get in the end, just because the middle evolutions themselves don't get traded away too often. Yes, the starters get, like, you know, hatched and stuff, so people have a lot of those, and then people might do some wonder trading at the end of their game where their starter is fully evolved, but it's really that middle evolution stage that's going to be hard to get our hands on in probably most cases in this entire Pokedex. And then we hit the end of day 4. It wasn't crazy successful. We ended on 284 Pokemon, only getting 24 new ones in about a 7-hour time period, because we're now at literally just over 30 hours. Coming into day 5, though, we did do pretty good, and we ended up reaching the point where we only had 100 Pokemon left. This took about 34 hours and 24 minutes. And I gotta say, I was pretty darn excited. However, nothing really eventful actually happened on day 5, so we ended up ending the day on 304 Pokemon at 36 hours 11 minutes. Day 5 wasn't crazy, but day 6 really popped off for us because we ended up finishing our first entire line of starters. And then not only did we do that once, but we actually finished 2. We finished the whole Fuecoco line and the whole Sprigatito line, and I was very surprised that it only took us the first 6 days to get them. It was at this point I was beginning to wonder how long it would take us to finish all 9 of the starters, and I wouldn't have that answer for quite a while, it turns out. But inevitably, we ended up coming to the end of day 6. We had 318 Pokemon caught in just about little over 43 hours. Day 7 wasn't crazy either. I did get a Fluttermane, and my first one was a shiny, a hacked shiny at that, but we needed it for our decks at the point, so I will definitely take it. But that was really the only thing to happen decent on day 7, and we ended up ending at 322 Pokemon caught. At this point, I honestly don't even know what the time was for that one. Coming into day 8, though, we actually had a pretty interesting amount of things happen. Like, we got our first trait evolution, we got a Haunter. We would get a couple more of these throughout the entire time, but I thought it would be cool to point out the first one we got. And finally, the thing I really wanted is we finally got a Houndoom. Now, the reason I really wanted Houndoom is because the one you see in the beginning of the game, when you're going through the cave with Miraidon and Koraidon, actually counts towards Pokemon battled in your Pokedex. So now that I finally got this Houndoom, the numbers in my Pokedex for battled and caught are now completely even, and I couldn't be happier. It just looked so much better in my mind that way. And then on day 8, we also finished the entire Eevee line. We ended up getting Sylveon. Took us a little while, but we did finally get it. Now this is something I didn't expect to happen. We got a shiny Frigivax. Now it's got an item on it and is nicknamed Happy New Year, so it was probably duplicated, but this one specifically ended up counting towards the number of shinies I had battled on my Pokedex, which means I ended up getting the original one. So hey, that's our first actual shiny we've gotten that hasn't been hacked. So I just thought that was really cool. And then towards the end of the night, we actually got a Lucky Cetitan, or a Cetitan from Lucky anyway, but we needed it for our Pokedex, so I'll definitely take it. And that was about the end of day 8. I don't really know where we were at the end of this one. It was a long day of trading. We actually ended up getting a lot done. Going into day 9 though, it was another really eventful day. We ended up getting a shiny Breloom, which this one also counted towards the Pokedex number of battled shinies, which means it was a real shiny as well. So whoever traded me their shiny Breloom, thank you, you made someone's day when I immediately Wonder Traded that thing back out. Also on day 9, we ended up getting our final Future Paradox Pokemon. Now when I said we were going to get a lot of Future Paradox Pokemon, I wasn't kidding. When we got our last one, we had gotten 41 in total. So it took us 41 Future Pokemon to get all 7 of them. There's not exactly a lot. Not long after that, though, we hit the point where we only had 50 Pokemon left. Once we hit that point, we had been going for over 60 hours already. 60 hours and 20 minutes to be exact. And then later that night, we finished off day 9 with 359 Pokemon caught at 68 hours, 41 minutes. That was definitely a long day at trading. Now, day 10 was not crazy eventful, but what did happen was we got our second to last ancient Pokemon, and we only had one more left at this point. But we hadn't been seeing a whole lot of ancient Pokemon to begin with, which is kind of unfortunate, but we do end up getting all of them. At the end of day 10, we had 364 Pokemon caught at 73 hours and 25 minutes. And it's at this point, I decided to stop keeping track of the days. We were having sessions where we wouldn't get a single new Pokemon, and I did expect this day to come, and I'm surprised we actually had 10 days in a row where we had a really good amount of stuff happen. But really, with less than 50 Pokemon left to go, it's really about the small details now. Now, not long after I decided not to keep track of days anymore, I actually got the final Pokemon that you need to walk with it to evolve, and that was Rabsca, and I thought that was really cool. It took a while, but we did finally get Rabsca, Pawmot, and Brambleghast. And then this was pretty cool. We totes got an Eevee, okay? We totes got that Eevee. Now, after the Eevee, it was a little while before we found anything cool, but we did get a triple Maushold. Now, since this is the rare one, I believe, just like the 3-segmented Dunsparce, or the Dunsparce if you will, I thought it was really cool that we wound up getting the rare one, the 1 in 100 chance. And then it happened. We got our final Paradox Pokemon. It took a really long time to get it, but we hadn't been seeing any Ancients for the longest time, and in the end, it only took us getting 12 to get the 7 we actually needed for the Dex. Which, when you put it like that, is actually pretty good considering it took us 41 future Pokemon to get all of them. And here I thought the final Paradox Pokemon was going to be one that was going to take a while to get, and then I got this. I got Golden Go already. It didn't even break the final 25, which surprised me beyond belief. I couldn't even believe my eyes when I saw it. I honestly thought Golden Go was going to be one of like the final Pokemon I was going to need, and it was just going to be hard to get hours and hours and hours of trading. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was the last thing I needed, but turns out we had a little bit of luck on our side. And then a few days later, we actually hit our final 25. The final 25 we needed in our Pokedex were Miraidon, Koraidon, all 4 of the Ruins of Legend, Quaxwell, Frostlass, Goodra, Palafin, Electrike, Electros, Gothitelle, Flapple, Dolliv, for some reason, Palisand, Clawitzer, Cacturn, Grimmsnarl, Baxcalibur, Wishcash, Frostmoth, Lurantis, and Mismagius. Now, a lot of these make a lot of sense. You know, Baxcalibur's really rare, Wishcash isn't found too many places in the wild, and then obviously the legendaries. But some of these I honestly don't understand, like Frostmoth. I don't know why that one is taking so long, considering it's literally found all over the mountains, and then literally all over the almost the entirety of Area 0. But with only 25 left, it was time to get grinding. Not long after I realized we only had 25 Pokemon left, I actually found this Tandemaus, and it's doing a little dance. Look at that. That is so adorable. I didn't even know it did this. I literally caught it out of the corner of my eye one day, and I was just in awe. It was so adorable. And then it happened. I finally got it. I got the Frostmoth. That was the one thing on the list of 25 that I was looking at, and I'm like, how is that even a thing? But we ended up getting it, and I'm glad it's just finally out of the way. Now, at this point, we have actually been doing this for a little over 2 weeks now, and this is the first and only time this scenario has happened in the entirety of this challenge. I traded out a shiny and got a shiny back. And it wasn't even a hacked shiny, it was just a duplicated shiny that someone was kind of just sending out. I just thought that was really cool. Then, actually, on the same day, we also got Palafin. Palafin was another one that I honestly just thought was going to take a while due to its unconventional way of evolving it, which you kind of have to join the Union Circle to do, which is just kind of weird. And if you're going to go through all that trouble to actually get it, the odds of you trading one out, probably not likely. I'm still guessing it might have actually been an accident because they thought it was the first evolution still. Just a few days later, we got something I wasn't actually expecting to get yet, and that is the final pseudo-legendary Baxcalibur. Honestly, this is another one I would not have been surprised if it was the last thing I needed, but we ended up getting it. I thought it was cool, and I'm glad that's out of the way as well. And then, literally the very next day, we got another Pokemon that we needed. We got Cacturn. At this point, there was only 6 Pokemon left. After we got Cacturn, there was only 6 more Pokemon for us to get. 6 Pokemon that weren't legendaries anyway, and that was Quaxwell, Electros, Dolliv, Palisand, Wishcash, and Grimmsnarl. Some of these make sense. Grimmsnarl's pretty rare, Electros pretty rare, Dolliv I don't understand in the slightest. I can't even believe it. I can't believe it's in the final 6, I'm gonna be honest. Then, just after hitting the 3-week mark, we got the final starter. We got Quaxwell. I am so shocked that that one took so long, but I'm kind of not surprised. I said in the beginning that middle evolutions were going to be a little tough, but I wasn't expecting final 6 Pokemon kind of tough. And that day actually turned out to be a crazy good day because not only did we get Quaxwell, we also got Grimmsnarl later that night. Now that we've gotten those 2, there are only 4 Pokemon left. Palisand, Electros, Wishcash, and Dolliv. The olive thing in the fridge. was one we still needed. It was one of the last 4 things. I'm honestly shocked. I just don't get it. Now, later on down the line, we haven't had some cool interactions in quite a while until we managed to get a Slowpoke that evolved when it got traded to us. It turned into a Slowking, obviously, because it evolved upon trading, but I just thought that was really cool, because that means someone went out of their way to put a King's Rock on a Slowpoke and then trade it to someone in the Wonder Trade. I just thought that was a really neat thing for someone to do. Not long after getting the Slowking, I think it was like the next day, we wound up getting Electros. Honestly, I'm glad this one's out of the way. I don't even know where to find this thing in the game, outside of catching its first evolution and just evolving it all the way up, so I'm honestly just glad we got that one. But with that, there was only 3 Pokemon left. Palisand, Wishcash, and this Olive thing. I don't understand. A lot of days went by where we didn't get anything, but there was a silver lining. We wound up getting Palisand finally. We got the Sandcastle, okay? We needed that. But you know what we still don't have? We don't have an Olive. A Olive and Wishcash are the last 2 Pokemon. Wishcash, sure, that makes sense. I get that. The Olive? They're everywhere. Well, it's first evolution, but still, they're literally everywhere to the point where it being one of the last Pokemon I need makes 0 sense. And if that wasn't enough, if still needing an Olive wasn't enough, we get a legendary in the Wonder Trade. We got Wo-Chien, the Ruined Snail. We got Wo-Chien before Dolive. I can't even begin to imagine how that's even possible. I was honestly stunned to see this come through. I didn't cross any of them off the list yet because I knew it was possible to get them through the Wonder Trade, but because there's only 1 per save file, I didn't think I was gonna get one. So in the end, I'm glad we at least got 1, but I was not expecting to get any others, and spoiler alert, we didn't, but honestly, getting 1 was still pretty cool. Literally the very next day though, we ended up getting Wishcash. The second to last Pokemon we needed, we got it. It was Wishcash, and literally from now on, it was the Olive. That's all we needed. I can't believe that Dolive was the last thing we needed. Literally, it makes 0 sense. But I thought it would be fun to actually have a little bit of a live reaction and record all my voice, not live streamed, but live while hunting. That way when I found it, we could instantly go and get the shiny charm. Now this turned out to not exactly be easy, because literally the next full day I had to hunt, there was a PokeTuber named Purple Cliff streaming himself trading out 100 shinies to 9,000 people, and the only thing they were supposed to trade was Lechonks. So for 4 straight hours, I got like nothing but Lechonks. I love Purple Cliff, he's hilarious, but that really made it tough to get this Dolive. But without further ado, the next day after that, I couldn't believe it. Let's go to Live Me. I also like those. Yeah. Oh my gosh! I got Dolive! I got the last one! That's the last one! Starflight, you're amazing. Thank you. Or wait, was that the name of the Pokemon? Or what? That's the final Dex entry. Oh my gosh. Literally the only thing we don't have now is the legendaries, and we're going to have someone trade those to us because we kind of can't really get them. Alright, there's the final Dex entry. My mic might be a little bit screwed up here, but that's fine. Let's take a final look at our stats real quick before we get the legendaries over. 395. The only 5 we're missing are Miraidon, Koraidon, and then 3 of the 4 legendaries of Ruin. We did get the snail one, Wo-Chien, somehow. I can't even believe we did that. But it has taken us exactly... almost exactly, actually, 270 hours and 8 minutes. Alright, now I've never actually gotten the shiny charm. I'm pretty sure Professor Jacques gives it to you, if I'm not mistaken, but he also gives you other stuff, depending on, you know, what you have done. I don't know where he's going to be, though. Alright, we found him. He is in the biology classroom. What is he gonna give us, though? Ah, false swipe. That'll come in handy. I don't actually have that on any of my other files, so that's a really nice move to have. Oh, 20 Ultra Balls. Okay, that's pretty good. That'll come in handy later for the next challenge we do on this file. Alright, halfway. 200 species. We got that. We can do it. 20 Quick Balls. Okay. Alright, well, let's get us someone to trade us the legendaries real quick, and then we will talk to Professor Jacques. Alright, and that is 400 Pokemon obtained. It is unfortunate that we had to get the legendaries traded to us, but there's no, like, feasible way of getting all of them, and it's literally impossible for Miraidon and Koraidon, which is unfortunate. But let's go ahead and talk to Mr. Jacques and get our final reward, which is going to be the Shiny Charm. And look at that, we have not opened the Pokedex at all, because I thought it'd be cool to see all the exclamation points. But we got literally everything. Some stuff was really easy to get, and I couldn't believe how easy it was. Like, I've gotten 3 or 4 Golden Goes, but it took me forever to get things like, obviously, Dolliv was the last one. I got Wo-Chien, the legendary Ruined Snail, before I got Dolliv. How insane is that? That was, unfortunately, the only one we were able to get in, like, what was it, 270 hours? Actually, we can check that right now. Hang on. In, 270 hours, almost into half, and we got 3 shiny Pokemon, although one of them was a hacked Scyther that evolved into Scizor, so it counted. But I did get 2 real ones, I believe. One being a Breloom, and I think the other one was a Frigibax, which is cool. I'm very proud of this, and I'm excited to announce my next challenge. But before I do that, let's go ahead and grab the Shiny Charm. Oh, Mr. Jacques. Okay. There it is, the Shiny Charm. We got the Shiny Charm using exclusively, just about anyway, as exclusive as it can get, the Wonder Trade system, or Surprise Trade, if that's what you would prefer to call it, because that's its real name. Let's go ahead and take a look at this in our bag, though. Shiny Charm, there it is. There it is. And if we go ahead and go to the map and zoom out, we have not gotten a single gym badge at all. But that is where the next challenge comes in. What we are going to do with this file, now that we have the Shiny Charm, is we are going to use it to get shiny versions of every single important trainer's team and battle them with it. So we're going to get a shiny version of the first gym badge, all 8 of those, and we're going to battle them with it. And we cannot duplicate, so we have to do a fresh hunt every single time, and we're going to do them in order as best we can. And I'm actually really, really excited for that one. But that is it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. This video has taken me so long to come out, and I apologize that it has been a couple weeks since I have uploaded anything, but I've been working on this in the background literally the whole time. But I am so happy to finally have it done. I can't believe how long this took. But if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to leave it a like and share it with your friends, because that helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you're new. And I'll catch all of you guys in the next series of challenge videos. I'm really excited for this one. Peace.